So it is great to make it to this point. A lot of work has gone into this budget. I certainly want to thank Stan Early. Can we give him a round of applause? We don't get to do that anymore because we have not been in person, but he and the entire budget team certainly deserve it. They worked tirelessly to get us to this point. And then I want to thank everyone else present and those who are watching us from afar. This year has been, for all of us, a truly challenging year for every Prince Georgian in ways that we could not have imagined. Even during this challenging time, we have found that defining, setting, and working toward new goals provides the compass our county has needed to move forward. Our county government has worked with this principle in mind, whether it's been one of the many new challenges that we faced as a result of COVID-19, or the goals that my team and I set for Prince George's County when I first took office in 2018. Even during this challenging time, it's been really great to say that we have made progress in both ways, working toward COVID-19 procedures and working through the challenges there and achieving our goals. We've welcomed national relief packages, but across the board, we've had to be disciplined and made hard choices so that today we can enjoy the vision that we share for tomorrow. We've made investments in some difficult decisions, and those decisions have been designed to protect our investments. Our proposed FY-2022 budget reflects discipline and optimism, and we use those words because we have made those tough choices, but we know that a bright tomorrow is on its way. With that in mind, our new budget must reflect the reality of our situation. We now face historic unemployment and revenues that are flat due to COVID-19. In light of this, we've had to find ways to tighten the budget. It hasn't been a period of great change just for Prince George's County. The changes we are dealing with in our community have happened across the country. Local governments everywhere have had to cut back, and people across this nation have experienced loss as a result of COVID-19. That's whether it's been a loss of life, a way of life, a job. It's just been a really difficult year for so many. Americans everywhere have renewed their focus on social justice. This year, we saw the largest peaceful protest in human history assemble and demand justice for George Floyd, along with countless other men and women who lost their lives. Americans across this nation have a new awareness of our police, our public health system, and our education system, and they are looking to their government to make progress on all fronts. Here in Prince George's County, we have paid close attention to these national developments. Prince Georgians want to close the equity gap in policing, they want to close the equity gap in public health, and they want to close the equity gap in education. As your county executive, I want every resident to know that we hear you. In the interest of transparency, you should know that the proposed budget that we are presenting is going up online in the coming days on our new budget dashboard, which will make it easy to see how we're being good stewards of your tax dollars. Last year, as I delivered this budget presentation, it was quickly becoming clear that we were at the start of a global pandemic. In the weeks after I presented last year's budget, we faced a great deal of uncertainty. We worked to stabilize our county, then immediately began to address the needs of our residents. First and foremost, our county health department coordinated with the state and federal government to begin tracking COVID-19 and finding ways to limit the spread. We started by standing up the state's first COVID-19 testing facility at FedEx Field and provided residents with cash gift cards to bridge the gap between unemployment and unemployment benefits. Throughout the year, we identified the immediate needs of our residents affected by the pandemic, and we found ways to meet those needs with new programs. As we expanded our testing operation, we transitioned dozens of county programs and thousands of employees to a virtual work environment. We created the largest teleworking program our county government has ever had in order to maintain continuity of operations. Our efforts allowed us to continue to offer important services for our residents. And even amid the changes, our county government continued to make progress. We achieved new cost savings and efficiencies this past year as we implemented the county's first ever electronic procurement system called Speed e-Procurement. Our new procurement system greatly improves government efficiency. Over time, this program will save our county millions of dollars, which can be used to fund programs that directly impact our residents. Our county has also worked to address food insecurity for thousands of residents affected by the pandemic. We implemented the Stand Up and Deliver program, and last year alone, we distributed over 134,000 boxes of groceries, 2.7 million pounds of food, and nearly 90,000 prepared meals to residents living in our food insecure areas of the county. In addition, our Department of Family Services, in partnership with the Department of Public Works and Transportation, delivered over 1 million meals to seniors during March through December of last year. Many of these seniors are homebound or lost access to our senior center, which shut down during the pandemic. Even during a period of great change, we were able to continue making progress on our administration's long-term goals. We planted nearly 7,500 trees to improve beautification, increase future tree canopy, and improve air quality. We completed the body-worn camera program rollout to all patrol officers in the Bureau of Patrol. And even in the midst of a pandemic, we saw historic voting numbers. Over 604,000 people registered to vote, and 427,000 Prince Georgians cast their ballots in the 2020 election. This was a turnout rate of over 70%. We successfully implemented a vote-by-mail balloting system and processed about 240,000 mail-in ballots. This was an unprecedented number of mail-in ballots, and it represents the largest mail ballot program our county has ever had. We move forward with the Alternative School Construction Financing Program, which projects $1.2 billion in future school construction and 6 new buildings in the next 3 years. This is the first program of its kind in the country, and we are really proud of our efforts here. And as we move forward with police reform, we have adopted 46 of the 50 Police Reform Task Force recommendations for the Prince George's County Police Department. These reforms include expanded independent oversight, increased officer accountability, changes to law enforcement engagement with the community, and an unprecedented level of transparency for Prince George's County Police. Over the past year, we've faced a great number of challenges, and we've had to recalibrate our budget to meet the needs of residents while taking steps to ensure Prince George's County will remain fiscally solid going forward. This is a national problem. Communities across the country are grappling with the same issues we are now dealing with. In Prince George's County, we have an exemplary fiscal stewardship. That's why our county has a AAA bond rating. With the fiscal year 2022 budget in place, I'm confident that our county will remain in excellent fiscal shape. I want to take a moment now to put a spotlight on the Prince George's Forward Task Force. In June of 2020, it was very clear that our county would need to chart a new course. That's why I assembled the Forward Task Force, a group of experts and county employees working together to address the impacts of COVID-19. The Forward Task Force is providing recommendations that will help speed our community's recovery from this pandemic. Their first 2 rounds of recommendations address the immediate needs of residents and then our county's needs in the near term. They are currently working on a 3rd round of recommendations for long-term solutions to help our county excel. Overall, the Forward Task Force recommendations focus on our county's recovery from the pandemic. Their recommendations can be divided into 5 categories: economic, education, government operations, health, human and social services. The Forward Task Forces offer tremendous insight into our county. For example, to better meet the immediate need of Prince Georgians, we've increased the health tools available to residents, improved access to hotline services, and pursued aggressive mass communication campaigns with all residents to make sure they were up to date on COVID-19. Looking ahead, the Forward Task Force has helped our county renew its focus on improving the regulatory process to attract more economic development initiatives. We've also adopted the Green Book campaign to increase Prince George's County and public sector procurement opportunities for Prince George's County, county-based business, and minority-owned businesses. In education, the task force has worked to support anytime, anyplace virtual learning, which provides 24/7 online access to class material for students. At the same time, based on forward task force recommendations, we created a universal laptop program which provides a computing device for all Prince George's County public school students. To make our county government more efficient, we work to promote digitization of county files, correspondence, and services. We also adopted the continuity of government plans, which will be completed this June, while completing continuity of operations awareness training for appointing authorities and agency COOP managers. The Forward Task Force has proven to be an invaluable partner for our county. Their reports help us envision a new future for our county after COVID-19. The full reports are available at princegeorgesforward.com. For the fiscal year 2022 year, we have $4.5 billion in operating funds. This is an increase of 1.3% over fiscal year 2021. For this budget, we are relying on $49 million in fund balance support for general fund spending. Our county has relied on limited fund balance since the pandemic began. Going forward, we're going to rebuild fund balance and we will not draw it down further. Here, we have a snapshot of all funds from fiscal year 2020 to our proposed budget for fiscal year 2022. The pandemic has impacted our budget for the last few fiscal years. We've not seen any declines in revenues, but we have not also seen the growth that is typical. The overall growth is only 1.3% in spending. We're pursuing this constrained growth to account for smaller growth in our revenues over the past few years. By constraining spending now, we'll be better positioned to emerge from the pandemic. Overall, the pandemic had an effect on our revenue, but it was not as extreme as some imagined it would be. In the end, we've come out about even. We expect to see revenue begin to grow again toward the end of fiscal year 2022 with more normal growth in fiscal year 2023. We're working now to maximize our growth potential going forward. Our proposed budget includes $3.78 billion in proposed revenues, a year-over-year increase. As you can see here, our revenues continue to grow. Here you can see a breakdown of county revenues by category. Our largest single source of funds is aid to support the Board of Education, followed by other outside aid and local taxes and receipts. We spend 62% of our general fund to support the Board of Education, followed by public safety funding and other non-departmental spending. I want to take a moment to focus on our Board of Education spending. Our fiscal year 2022 budget proposes a 2.8% increase in funding for the Board of Education. The county is providing $816.3 million for the Board of Education, with $15 million in operating funds for financing our public-private partnership alternative construction projects. Here we have a summary of our capital improvement program expenditures. For in-depth information, we'll be making the entire proposed budget available online on our budget dashboard, which will make it easy to see how we're spending your tax dollars. Now, some of the highlights of our capital improvement program include $1.2 billion for school construction, along with other improvement for staff and students. This allocation includes funds to support the Alternative Construction Finance Plan, which will help our county build 6 new schools. We're also improving public works infrastructure, and we're ensuring that our stormwater management program provides flood protection and drainage improvements that protect roads, businesses, and homes. Now I want to highlight some of the key investments we're making in the fiscal year 22 budget. Before I go on, we're so proud to say that we have made progress in the areas we identified last year, and this is despite what we've seen. Even during the pandemic, our proud priorities have helped to guide our county, and we're working to make sure that our policy vision becomes a reality that benefits county residents, even when conditions change. We've devoted a great deal of effort and resources to the COVID-19 pandemic. This has included $1.1 million for our continued pandemic response. In addition, we've allocated $20 million to a new behavioral health center, and we're pushing ahead with our projected FY-2022 completion of a new headquarters building that will co-locate the administrative offices of the Health Department, the Department of Family Services, and the Department of Social Services. The Health and Human Services building will be a central location for service, especially to older adults, persons with disabilities, and family caregivers. We've also allocated $107.5 million to a beautification initiative that will improve infrastructure across the county. Our economic future is bright, and I am especially pleased with the progress that we've made along our Blue Line and Purple Line corridors. In our FY-22 budget, we're providing continued support for our economic development agencies totaling $7.8 million. We're also expanding our successful emergency rental assistance program through grant funding, which will increase the number of households that receive assistance. Our Department of Housing and Community Development will also provide funding for home improvements to maintain single-family homes around Suitland, Naylor Road, and the Central Avenue Blue Line corridor. We've also included $4.2 million for the Workforce Housing Gap Financing Program, which expands mixed-income communities by providing gap financing for workforce housing. As a part of our effort to recover from COVID-19, we've allocated funds for 10 new positions, including 3 registered nurses for the immunization program, 2 disease control specialists for the communicable disease program, a safety officer, an auditor to review contracts, and 3 system analysts for the electronic health record and health information technology systems. These positions will help us immunize more residents in the near term. In our FY-22 budget, we provided funding for the approved Police Reform Task Force recommendations. This includes funding to support 3 new positions, a Director of Race and Equity and 2 psychologists. We will allocate additional resources for 2 new recruitment classes that will help mitigate department attrition. And the Citizen Complaint Oversight Panel will fund stipends for participants of police department disciplinary investigations. During a global pandemic, we are still funding education at a historic level. Our FY-2022 budget includes $2.34 billion in funding for the Prince George's County Public School System. This is an increase of $64.4 million, or 2.8%, over the FY-2021 budget. The county's contribution totals $816.3 million and exceeds the maintenance of effort requirements by $44.3 million. We are also providing public-private partnership funding at $15 million, and we've provided $119.1 million from the general fund for the community college. Our memorial library system will receive $32.9 million in general fund spending for FY 2022. We're providing operating funds for technology upgrades that will provide internet to library parking lots, as well as 2 new delivery vehicles and a replacement maintenance truck. In FY 2022, the Stormwater Management Fund budget totals over $87.4 million, which is an increase of $4.7 million, or 5.7% above the FY 2021 budget. This important fund supports costs for a wide range of beneficial water quality programs, and it funds our flood and drainage mitigation throughout the county. This past year, we saw just how important this program is, and we want to continue doing everything we can to stop flooding in Prince George's County. To protect the solvency of our stormwater management fund and prevent residents' homes and our county roadways from experiencing drainage issues in the coming decades, we need to reassess our stormwater fee. We hear about drainage concerns throughout the county, and we need to make sure that we are making decisions which will positively impact our future. The fee will need to be increased slightly, but not until next year. By reassessing this fee, we'll be able to make investments that protect the homes and property of our county residents and businesses. We are also working to maintain government operations. The Office of Finance will implement a new tax billing and collection system for real and personal property, as well as transfer and recordation taxes. The Office of Information Technology budget includes funding to implement a new performance management dashboard solution called OpenGov. We've also provided funding to support cybersecurity protections, especially as employees continue to work remotely. We continue to update the e-permit system with a new comprehensive electronic permitting and licensing system that integrates permit processing, plan review, inspections, and licensing functions. This update will help our county move more efficiently and will reduce some of the regulatory burden for new permits. Our FY-2022 budget recognizes the value of a strong Prince George's County. We're allocating resources to the Office of Community Relations to create an Immigrant Affairs Division, which will include one manager and 2 support positions that will serve our immigrant residents. We're continuing to fund the Summer Youth Enrichment Program. This year, we're including $1 million to support Summer Youth Enrichment Program jobs for county youth ages 14 to 22. Funding for Summer Youth Enrichment includes the Job Readiness Program, which helps to enhance the work environment experience for young people. For our Department of Family Services, we're providing funding to increase access to intervention programs and services for at-risk youth and families. Our FY22 budget also supports domestic violence and human trafficking awareness, prevention efforts in the office newsletter. Our Department of Social Services receives funding to support consultant services for the Food Equity and Food Insecurity Task Force and the Maryland Money Market Double Value Coupon Program, which helps increase our residents' spending power at local farmers markets. It hasn't just been a period of great change in Prince George's County. The changes that we are dealing with in our community have happened across the country. We continue to invest in our residents and their changing needs, and as we move forward, we must continue to invest our resources with discipline in the face of uncertainty. We emerge from this pandemic in a new world. This is true for Prince George's County as much as it is true for countless other communities across the nation. While change creates uncertainty, I'm confident that with steady leadership, we can make this change work for our community. We're all looking for opportunities to help Prince George's County move forward, and we will not allow any new opportunity to pass us by. In the FY 2022 budget, I commit our county to remaining nimble in the face of challenge. We will shift and react to new information, and we will make sure every dollar we spend goes as far as possible for Prince Georgians. Thank you.
Okay, now, so any questions you might have? Will, you came in a little bit late. Any questions in regards to the budget?
Not to be put on the spot or anything, you know?
Well, I guess residents, you know how they want to know their tax increase.
We have a fee. There's a stormwater fee, and the stormwater fee is increasing, not this year, but next year. And I think many of our residents are familiar with the flooding that has occurred mostly due to climate change. But we are making some adjustments with the stormwater fee to make sure that we're able to keep up with the climate changes and the damage that we've seen happen throughout our county.
Any idea how much at this point in terms of the stormwater?
It's 2 cents.
2 cents.
2 cents on the on each on the property, on each $100 of property.
2 cents on each $100 of property. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Okay, so we're good. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Yes. Will, I think that Stanley's adding one other thing.
That would not be until fiscal year 23.
Yeah, she mentioned that last year. She did.
All right. Thank you so much, everybody.